Hello everybody. I wanted to do a video today. Have you ever watched Ricky and Lucy where Ricky comes out and says, Lucy, you got some explaining to do? Well, that's kind of what I want to do. Grammy, you got some explaining to do. So I wanted just to go over, had a couple questions, so I want to answer some of the questions that I was getting up on my comments and kind of explaining some questions that maybe people had. So on the opening my new hammock, when I showed the orange and gray hammocks that we had, and I said I wasn't sure what the difference was between the two hammocks. One of the questions asked, they said I never did tell what the difference was. This hammock here has the net, the wire to hold up the net, the wire, the actual springy wire to hold the bug net up, where this one just has the regular bug net. It doesn't have, you have to hold it up with your ropes and stuff. So that was one of the questions, was what was the difference between the two hammocks. Okay, so another thing is they wanted to know what the brand was. Well, we just started hammock camping, so we actually went and got the lowest cost hammocks we could find, and they were no names. There was no names on these hammocks, and so there is really no brand. It was just a no-name hammock. But the hammock, camping hammock, this one here, it says, when I get my description, it says it was a camping hammock with a pop-up mosquito net, double hammock, outdoor, portable, folding, moisture-proof, well-ventilated, parachute nylon. It says for two persons, hiking, beach, camping, but we never did put two people in it. I don't see how they get two people in here, but it says that's what it is. But that was what this one is. It's a parachute nylon. And the other hammock we got, it says it's a camping hammock with mosquito net, double hammock, outdoor, waterproof, portable, moisture-proof, parachute, nylon with carabiners and tree straps. Again, it says it's a two-person camping for hiking, hunting, fishing, army green, and fishing. So, and then it has something like 260 pounds or 140 centimeters. I'm not exactly sure what that meant. But this one actually says the fabric is a DENIER, Denier 210T. I don't know what that means. But that was what the hammocks were, what they were made out of. Someone had asked about that, because if you see the video, you'll know later. All right, so get back to some of the questions I had. They wanted to know what was the name of the hammock, which I just told you I didn't know. I'm going to show you in a minute how to put it back in, because someone said, how do you get it back in the bag? And I'm going to show you that in a minute, how to get it back in the bag. I want to say, someone asked, what's a woobie? Because I kept saying in my thing, I have my woobie. A woobie is just an extra comforting blanket. It's a fuzzy blanket to me. It's just, some people call them couch throw blankets or something, but anytime you hear me say I have my woobie, it is a blanket. It's just a little blanket. Another thing I wanted to say is, I was saying in my hammock I had my underquilt on, and I realized in the camping world there is such a thing as an underquilt that they put underneath the hammock. But when I'm talking about an underquilt, because I wasn't sure what everybody else was talking about, I literally just used one of these moving blankets. I got mine in the camouflage thing, but it's just a moving blanket. We got it at Harbor Freight, I think maybe $10. But anyway, I was calling this my underquilt because I put it under me and it's kind of like a quilt. So when I was saying my underquilt, I wanted people to know that that was what I was calling my underquilt. It was underneath my sleeping pad, and again, it's not the official underquilt of what you do in hammocks and stuff. So whenever I was using the word, I've got my underquilt. It was my moving blanket. And it was under, it's like a quilt. It was under my stuff, so that was my underquilt. So I want to clear that up. Another thing is we didn't actually have sleeping pads because, like I said, we were just kind of starting out. So we're buying everything very low budget, and we're trying to upgrade later as we go on. So let me just show you this. We actually got, these are actually swimming pool floaties. They're just swimming pool floaties. They actually had a pillow with them, so I liked it had the pillow. And when you blow them up, they are about maybe that thick. They are actually comfortable enough to sleep on. We've not only slept with those in our hammock, I've also used them in the tent. Because like I said, we're low budget right now. We're going to upgrade later. But so I actually didn't have a sleeping pad. We were sleeping on the inflatable floaties, what you would call a floaty. So I answered the question, what the difference between the two hammocks was, the name of the hammock, a Wooby. All right. My next question is when the hammock busted. And it did bust. We don't know why. We don't know if we was hanging it wrong or what. He sat in that hammock all throughout the day, taking a break, sit in it, lay in it. It was fine. Some reason in the middle of the night, this is the hammock, I'll show you. Like I said, I'm not sure if we didn't have it hung right or what. Now, I like sleeping in a hammock. I'm a side sleeper, and I can get very comfortable in a hammock. My husband, he likes to lay flat on his back, and I think he has a problem sleeping in the hammocks because he likes that flat lay. He likes to lay flat on his back, but I really don't know what happened. In the middle of the night, as you saw the video, if you didn't see the video, go back and watch the video. That one's called Opening Our New Hammock. But in the middle of the night, his hammock literally busted. It just literally, I put some tape on it trying to tape it, but it literally, there's a hole right there in the middle of my hammock. He was laying on it. I was in a good sleep. All of a sudden I hear this rip, and next thing you know, he's stuck in his hammock. He can't get out. Of course, my first response is I'm laughing so hard I can't help myself. I'm just laughing. I'm sorry about that. And then later he said that, so let me just show you the rip. For some reason, right across the very bottom of it, it ripped all the way across. From one end all the way across to the other end. I did try to duct tape it back together. You know, the old let's try to duct tape it together thing. I might try to sew it later, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so he said it was in the middle of the night, and we didn't have too many more hours before it was going to be daylight anyway. So he said he was just going to kind of hang there until morning. So I rolled over, went back to sleep. And I really didn't think anything about it because he said he was fine. But he stayed in the hammock that way until he couldn't stand it anymore. And then he literally did get up, and he went back to the car and slept in the car. So when I wake up in the next morning, in the morning time, when I grabbed that video and I'm like, well, I had a good night. I just wasn't even thinking at that point because I literally woke up, and so I wasn't even functioning well. So everybody asked the comment like, well, what happened to him? What happened to him? Where'd he go? What happened? Because I'm like, well, I had a good night. You know, I slept good. And they're all like, what happened to him? What happened to him? So the answer is he did end up getting up in the middle of the night. Well, late. He stayed there as long as he could. And then he ended up getting up and then going to sleep in the car. So Pappy was not a happy camper. He did not have a good experience sleeping in the hammock at all. And he just didn't like it. So in that video, people was asking, like, because I wake up like, well, I had a good night and everything was fine. And they're like, but what happened to him? What happened to him? So that's the answer. The other answer question I had, because like I said, this one was ripped completely in the middle. We really haven't figured out what happened to it. But I reached out to the company, and the company did, let me get my paper here. The company did send us another hammock. So they did replace, even though this is the one that busted, when they sent me back the hammock, they sent me back the one with the wire instead. So, but I told them this is the one that busted, and when I ordered 2 different ones, they just went ahead, and I don't know if that was an upgrade to them or what, but they sent me one back. So the company was really good about that, and they did send me a replacement hammock. So there's that on that story. Let me see if I got all my questions on that I asked. Yeah. And like I said, we were new to this. It was literally our first night actually sleeping in it. It could have been how we hung the hammock. I don't know. But we did get it replaced. And it did bust on him. We still haven't figured that out. So, someone wants to know how to get it back into the pouch. So I'm going to show you. Once you take it out, once you take your hammock out, whoops, there's my straps. My 3 straps. I like to put my hammocks up close. But once you pull the hammock out, and I'll have it all packed out, it opens up and it has, like I said, like this wire to hold the net up. So it, let me try to see if I can't stand up and do this. So now the hammock's out of the pouch. Pretend I'd have it hang up. When you hang it up, these wires hold the netting up off your face. I do like that. I do like the wires hanging up off me because it keeps the net away from me. And so these are nice. I like these. So this is one that you get. But when you put it back together, let me see if I can do this. Let me move the table here. When I get my hammock off the tree, the first thing I do is I put the 2 nets thing. So now I've got it off the tree. I put the 2 nets together. And when I put the 2 nets together and I kind of shake it, I like to keep my carabiners where it's the first thing I can grab out. So I put them kind of where I can see them. What you do is you go to the edge and you make like a loop. But then you just kind of make like a circle. You just reach it over to make a circle. Now, I got to find my pouch. Here's my pouch. So once I fold it up in half, I make a loop, and then you just I kind of just make a circle with mine. I make a circle like that. I try to hold on to the edge with my hand. Then I stick it in the pouch. So here's the pouch. I'm going to stick it in the pouch now. So it's back in the pouch. And then I just stuff the rest of the hammock in. But I do want to make sure I'm looking for my carabiners. I hear them hanging on the table. But I like to hold my carabiners because I like them to be the first thing up. So I'm going to hold on to that one. Where's my other carabiner? I hear it. So I'm going to hold on to these 2 carabiners because I want that to be the last thing to go into the thing, because when I pull it out, I want it to be the first thing I hang up on the tree. So what I do, I'm holding on to this, and then I just literally just start shoving the rest of the hammock right into the bag, like so. I just keep stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. Pull up my net there, the bag, and as I stuff, you can stuff on either side. I got my 2 carabiners on top. Like I said, I like to have my carabiners where I can just pull them out and use them for the next time. And then once I get it all in there, I give it a nice little tuck. Make sure my carabiners are on top. And then I tuck them in like so. And then I get my drawstring right there. Kind of pushing in a little bit more. Get my drawstring. My carabiners are right there on top for me to reach them. Pull my drawstring. I could do a little bit more tucking if I needed to. Pull it a little bit tighter. And there you have it. It's back into the pouch. Someone said, how do you get it back in there? That's how I get it back in there. So it's back in to the pouch. My carabiners are on top for me to reach them. Then when I get out my tree straps, I just can get my tree straps, hook it right to my carabiner, swing it out, get to the other tree. So that's how I fold it back into the bag. I forgot to put the tree straps in it. I like to keep my tree straps right in the bag too. So I just stick them, roll them up, stick them right at the edge. I usually have them clipped to the end of my hammock so that I pull them out, but I might still do that. I just stick them in the bag. They're right there on top. I pull them out and they're ready to roll. So I hope that was all the questions I had for that particular camp out about my hammock. So then we decided to upgrade and we got a couple different hammocks. We got here. I bought this hammock and it's got a bug screen with it as well. And we decided to take this one on our next camp trip. So we got this hammock here. And then I got the Oak Creek hammock system, and I showed you that in another video. So we took these two hammocks on our next camp out. But my husband was a little leery about sleeping in a hammock again because, as you know, he had a bad experience. So he wanted me to. So we just threw in a small three-person dome tent just in case. He's like, for backup, because he did not want to have to go to ground again. So he said, we'll just go ahead and take that and have a backup. So as you see in my next, another video with the Oak Creek hammock and rainfly, I kept calling it a tarp, and it is a rainfly. And so every time I said, there's our tarp, I meant rainfly. I haven't got all the words down right. I don't have all the Lego, the right, correct language yet. But so every time I said our tarp, I meant the hammock. I meant the rainfly. So every time I said, we got our tarp up, it literally was our rainfly. So this is the hammock that Pappy slept in. I slept in the Oak Creek hammock. I slept in the Oak Creek hammock. And we did use the rainfly. Instead of using the Oak Creek rainfly, we used the Gold Armor rainfly in that video because it's a little bit bigger, and because with us both being under there, we wanted to use that one. The Oak Creek rainfly is good if it's just one person, but we did use the Gold Armor one. So, one of the questions we had, to put the two hammocks together, we used the EMO fuse, and it's a really neat thing. We hanged up the two hammocks on one tree, well, on two different trees, but the same tree on both ends. And we just used this. It's just they snap together, they pull apart, flip them in, and then at the end you can see it's got a really cool clip there. You just open up this, clip it on to your hammock right there, and it snaps shut. So I'll show you a close-up of that. That's what that end looks like. So we had this on the bottom end of the hammock, and then the other one on the top of part of the hammock. Like I said, they just slip together, and that's it. They're very lightweight, so they're nothing to weigh. I mean, they're nothing to carry around, but I liked it. It was really good to put the thing. Of course, you know, whenever we weigh two different amounts, if he's in his hammock and I'm in my hammock, we have it where we're laying just about like this, because I'm not sure how he hung it, whether he put mine higher or lower, I'm not sure, but when we hang in them, they go like this. But if he gets out of his hammock, his is going to go up and mine goes down, or if I get out of my hammock, it's like that. So with the bars, it does do that, but even when he'd get out of his hammock, I could still swing in there and I was fine. I love swinging from trees. I mean, I love it. So we didn't have any problem with that. Let's see what's in here. What does this say? And that just kind of shows the instructions on how you do with the trees, the emo. And it's attached right to the bag. Comes in this nice little bag, so it's real easy. Like I said, it doesn't weigh very much at all. And easy to take apart, easy to put away. One way at a time. Separate. Easy to put away. You just zip them in the bag, and put away. That's it. So this was one of the items we used. Someone was asking about that. We also had our daisy chain. This is just a 2-pack daisy chain with 6 carabiners, and we just had that hang between our 2 hammocks, and we hung our lantern on it. But it's just basically a little rope here. I'll show you. There's 2 in here, but I have 2 carabiners. We got them both on the same one now. But you hang it up on your, in between the 2 things, and it's got a whole bunch of different things that you can, loops, different size loops, that you can hang something else, and then another loop where you can hang something else. But I think there's about maybe 6 loops on here. But this is what our daisy chain was that we had hung up between us that had the the lanterns on it. Someone was asking about that, so I put that on there. Okay. Now, the next question was, someone wanted to know, when we had our, you have to go to the video and watch it, but when we put up our system, first we put up the rain fly, even though I called it a tarp. We put up the rain fly, and it was in like a net. And someone wanted to know what that netting was. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. The netting, let me show you the system, and then I'll show you what that netting was. Before we went to camp, we went ahead, and at the house, before we went out to camp, we went ahead and hung a ridge line, hung up the rain fly, then we rolled it up on that ridge line, and then we put a kind of like a netting on it, which is basically, it was just a scrunchie that you buy it like in the stores for like a shower scrunchie. It's just a scrunchie. And then you take it apart and it comes out, and it's this real long tube like. You get the end, and then you can put your hammock in there and you slide it all the way across your hammock or your rain fly. We did it to both. And then at the end you have your, where you hang it up. So this is basically, it was just a scrunchie or one of those shower, not a scrunchie, but a shower scrubby thing. And we just took it apart, and that's what that was. So then I put it in a little dry bag. or a stuff sack, whatever you want to call it. This may be a dry bag. But I put it in it. So this is my hammock system, all ready to go. It's got my rain fly and my hammock in it. So when we take it out, we get to camp and we find the trees that we want to hang between. I open this up. I can pull this out without messing it up. Okay, so I got on the edge, you can see I've already got my ropes already at the end. So when I pull this out, my first thing I'm going to come to is a carabiner. So I'll take my carabiner and I'll hook it around to the tree, and then as I pull this out, it's going to come like this. But as I take the one end, I hook this to one end, and like you see, wait, I got to separate them a minute. As you can see, I got the rope on this side, the rope on this side for the two carabiners. I got it folded in half, so then I just unroll it. When I unroll it, this side gets hooked onto a tree, and as it unrolls, the whole thing, see, it's all in one of those scrunchy things. This side hooks to the other tree. And then once we get it on the tree, you just slide down the scrunchy part. Once these two things are hooked, now I have it hooked on my tree, and you can see the video where it's straight across and it's just on this. We just move this netting all the way down. You just pull it down until you get to the other end, and then you unravel the rain fly, and it's ready to tarp down. Okay, so there's that. And then when we go to take it back off, we have it still strung to the tree. We'll wrap that rain fly around and around and around and around, and then we'll just take the netting that's already still at the end of the cord and pull it back across it. And when it becomes one long thing like this, I take my two ends. I take my two ends off the tree. I kind of hold them like this because I want them together at the end. So now I've taken them off my tree. I leave my two cords out here where I can put on them. Then I fold it in half. I fold my thing in half, and then I just roll it up like this. I just keep rolling and rolling and rolling like this. And it's in that netting, so I just keep rolling it, leaving my carabiners at the end. So now I got it rolled up. The carabiners are at the end, and then I can put it in my bag. And again, when I go to camp, first thing I pull out is this and run it across. But you can see in the video how we hung it up on the tree. So that's the rain fly. We did the same thing with the tarp. I'm sorry. That was the rain fly. We did the same thing with the hammock. So I pull that out of my bag, and you can see it's in a net again. I got my carabiner on the end. This is my hammock. This is actually my Oak Creek hammock. So I got the carabiner on the end. It's just in a big row. I just unroll it like that. I unroll it. And then I hook this carabiner up to the tree. Where's my carabiner? It's on the end. I hang that up to that tree, to that tree strap. Hang this end up to that tree strap. It's all out. Then I just pull that netting all the way back. Leave the netting right there on the line, and my hammock is out. When we go to put it away, we do the same thing. I'll pull that netting all the way back across my hammock, and I try to keep my my carabiners on the end out, and then I'll hold them together. Hold them out together, and then I just fold it in half, and then I roll this. I just keep rolling it up like this. I roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it till my carabiners are on the end, and now it's rolled up. It's in a roll. I stick that in my bag first because it's going to go on the tree last. We have been putting our rain fly up first and then the hammock. But I stuffed that in, just like that, in my bag. And I got the carabiners where I can reach them. Then I put my rain fly, and it's got my carabiners on the end. I put my rain fly, put that in the bag next. If I need to give it a little bit of a squish, I will. It goes in. Might have to give it a little bit of a squish because I didn't roll it as tight as I would if I can't maybe. But I roll it up. And I stick it in there. I might have to re-roll this. We roll it up tighter. I've got to re-roll it. I roll it up tight. Leaving my ends out. And then I just stick it in the bag. Stuff it in the bag. Because it is a stuffed sack and it is in the netting, it won't matter. Because when we pull it out, it'll still be one big. Some people can buy what they call the snake, and they put it in the snake. I'm determined to get this in there. If I was out on the ground, I would have had that rolled a whole lot better. Rolled it up. But I'm just for demonstrating purposes. So I put it back in my bag. Then I'll push it down. My carabiners are on the end. I'll push that down. You saw it when I first brought it out, how nice and neat I had that. But then I got it in there. Put my thing back down. And twist it around. And this system is ready to go. I grabbed that whole thing. It's got my carabiners with it. I keep my tree straps all in a different bag, so we'll have my tree straps with it. So that was the question we had, is what was the netting? And let me show you real quick here. So it is just basically one of these little scrubby things that you buy at the store. You take and cut the rubber band thing off of it right here. You cut that rubber band thing off, and it comes out in one long piece. So we put our rain fly in there, and we also put our hammocks in there, and it does string them up from one tree to the other. Again, low budget. Once we get a little bit more, we can upgrade some more. We might actually get the snake, the actual thing called the snake, to put on our system. But for right now, that's what we use. So, okay. I think that was some questions we had. We are still looking. Oh, Randy's, I want to show you. There it is. Again, at the middle of the night, we're sleeping good. I'm sleeping good. Randy, we both end up getting all their hammocks, going to the bathroom, getting back in, so forth, several different times. Well, in the middle of the night, Randy gets out of his hammock, and he was in this one. He gets out of his hammock, and I'm not sure if it's how we had it hung or what, but his hammock screamed. I don't know if he had it too tight or what happened, but the netting tore. His netting tore as he was getting back in, and I don't know if he's trying to adjust. Of course, like I said, we had the water pool floats as our sleep pad in there. I don't know what's happening. We don't know. So again, his thing ripped. He went to ground again. We ended up sleeping in the small tent that he took for an emergency because he thought if something happens, he needed something to sleep in. So we got out the little dome tent that doesn't take long to put up at all. It's just this little small, tent. In the middle of the night, stuck that up. And when he went to ground, I went to ground too, because we were out kind of in bear country and we did see a bear and we did see some deer. And I didn't want to sleep in the hammock if he wasn't going to be right beside of me. So I was fine as long as he was there beside me. But when he went to ground, I went to ground too. So he was, again, not a happy camper with an experience of sleeping in a hammock all night. I've slept in hammocks all night. Like I said, I love it. I sleep comfortably. I'm good. But I think his problem is he's laying, he wants to be flat. And he's a little bit heavier than I am too. But we are looking for a hammock that I can get him in that he won't break. I'm looking for some type of a, I don't know. We saw that hammock hammocks that lay, instead of laying this way, they lay out this way, like maybe like a triangle or something. Instead of like when your ridge line's this way, the hammock's actually swinging this way instead of this way. And so we might, again, it's that costs a little bit more money than we have right now, but we might upgrade to it. But we are looking for a hammock that I can get him in that he likes and he is willing to stay in it. He has learned, his tip now is don't hang your hammock any higher than you're willing to fall, because he's learned that. So we have that. But his next project, let me go get it. Let me go get that next project here. This definitely would be for tent camping. But because he has fallen out of the hammock twice and they busted, he has gone and got a hammock stand that you put out on the ground. Now this thing's pretty heavy, but if you take it in a vehicle, it's okay. We also did a video showing this one, how easy it's to set up. I'll put that on. But he can sleep in here, but it's heavy. And we have taken this, and I have a video of us with that. But like I said, that's heavy. It's easy to put up. It doesn't take very long at all. I think a couple pieces and you've got it together. But we're looking for a hammock that I can put him in. He's not going to fall, and it holds him, and he gets that flat lay he's looking for. So I believe I have covered all the questions I had that people was concerns with. If you have any questions, let me know. We're still learning. Mistakes were made, but that's okay. We tried something different today, so till the next time.